Hey everyone, Kevin here with JcrOffroad. Today in the garage we're going to be installing our catalytic converter skid on this 2022 Ford Bronco Sport. So obviously this is a skid. We're going to be working underneath the vehicle. We're going to need to do a little bit of disassembly here before our skid can go into place. So the main thing you're going to be removing is this center section right here that's currently covering part of the exhaust. However, you will need to remove, or at least partially remove, each of these factory splash guards so that you can gain access to the remaining hardware here, as well as get our mounts installed. So the front fasteners on these can be removed using a T30 Torx. Then on the outer edge of each of these splash guards, there's going to be one clip here at the front as well as the rear. You can pull those with a pair of these clip removal pliers, or you can get those pretty easily with a flat blade screwdriver. And then all the remaining fasteners will be these small stamped nuts that are on here from the factory and can be removed with a 10mm socket. So as you can see, with about the front half of these fasteners removed, you could potentially just let this hang and work around here if you're only installing the cat skid at this time. For ease of install and for you guys to be able to see everything, we're going to go ahead and get these the rest of the way down. Now that we have both of those out of the way, you can easily see the four fasteners holding this in place. That'll again just use your T30 Torx. Then lastly, at the back of each of these factory mounts, you're going to have one of these little plastic nuts that needs to be removed. You should be able to just reach over the top and kind of pinch these two tabs together with your fingers and pull that straight down. Next, you'll grab the two nut tabs labeled by the number 2. You can insert these into these two larger round holes here in the cross member. Now, if you're already running our engine skid, this is going to be the same hole that you inserted nut tabs through during that installation. If not, you can kind of see here, it's the only large round hole. You'll line these up basically straight back towards the rear of the vehicle. The driver's side will line up with this small square hole, and the passenger side will line up with this small round hole at the back of that cross member. With those in place, you can get your skid up here close to this cross member, grab two 5/16 button heads from your bolt pack, begin lining them up and installing them into those nut tabs. Now with the front of the skid loosely installed, we'll move back to these two holes midway down the skid and install these mid-mounting brackets. So you're going to look for the vertical hole. That's going to be here along the side. Go ahead and install a 5/16 button head through the side of that and a 5/16 serrated flange nut there on the inside of the skid. Get that started to hold it in place. With that hanging loosely on the one fastener, grab a 5/16 serrated flange nut, place it up here on top of the factory bracket. This will be the same mounting hole that you removed those plastic nuts from during the disassembly. And then again, a 5/16 button head here to hold that in place. Then leaving this hardware loose, go do the same thing on the other side. Now we can move back to installing the rear mounts. So those front mounts are in place enough to support the weight of the skid for now. You'll want to find the nut tabs indicated with a number 3 cutout. These are going to go through this kind of large hole here just above this factory heat shield, and you'll need to kind of slide them back and line them up with this hole just rearward of that. Now you can grab the rear mounting bracket. These are kind of tapered just a little bit. They're basically going to step forward from front to rear on the vehicle. So just kind of line it up on the skid itself and with that hole. Make sure it looks like everything lines up properly to know you have the correct one. And then with a 5/16 button head through this single outer hole, go ahead and get it lined up and started in your nut tab. Once you have it started up there, again, grab 5/16 button heads with those serrated flange nuts, slide the nut down inside of the skid, and get each of these started. Then just like the mid mount, go do the same thing on the other side. With all the hardware loosely in place, you'll just need a 3/16 hex to tighten things up. There's no particular order you need to work in here. I just kind of like to work from front to back, just making sure that the skid looks centered both in these slots as well as around the exhaust here at the rear cutout as you're getting things tightened in place. Now once you have that fastened in place, you're going to need to do a little bit of trimming before these factory splash guards can be reinstalled down each side. So we've kind of already loosely placed this one up here. We've gotten it aligned with a few of those studs that fasten it in place. And you can kind of see what you're going to need to do is some trimming here at the rear mounting bracket, as well as just a little bit right here at this step where it kind of interferes with our side flange on the skid. So you can kind of mark just about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch in front of and behind this bracket. Again, kind of just take a peek over it, knowing that it tapers slightly. Kind of carry those marks all the way in to that inner flange so that you can then cut down there as well. And then come up here and make your mark on this step. And we can pull this back down out of the vehicle. So then once you pull this back down, you'll just need a good sharp pair of scissors or a set of tin snips like I have here. And you can just kind of trace out those marks you just made and get this material removed. So depending on how accurate your marks or measurements were the first time around, you may need to kind of loosely install and remove this 1 or 2 times as you get that trimmed out. And then you should be able to just fasten this back in place using that factory hardware. Now once you have those trimmed and reinstalled, that'll complete the Cat Skid installation. So if you guys have any questions about this installation or any other product we offer here at JCR, feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at info@jcroffroad.com or give us a call at 269-353-1184.